I'm Vivek Sinha, one of the General Secretaries of FISI, welcoming you to this great conference on one of the very important election in India. And at the same time, there is a Russia-Ukraine conflict, which is keeping the world on the brink of world war, maybe. So, as you know, Friends of India Society International has been conducting seminar, workshop, presentations by distinguished persons on matters of India and the world at large. And in this series, today's presentation will be done or the open forum. So it will be led by our national president of FISI, Dr. Surendra Purohit. And as you already know, today's topic is discussing future of India in lieu of recent elections in India and Russia-Ukraine conflict. So without taking much time further, I would like to request our international president, Dr. Bhishma Agnihotri, to kick off today's topic and introduce our president.
Let me say one thing to start with, that it's my pleasure that Dr. Surendra Purohit is here with us. You know, all his background is already given to you, all of you. He's a great doctor, surgeon, and everything else. But more important, he has been with us for a long time with FISI, Friends of India Society International. And also he has been longer with me as member of API. Of course, I have been with API, that's Association of American Physicians of India origin, since almost from its inception as the advisor and lawyer, free lawyer, I want to say that. And then he had been with us, and Dr. Ji has been very, very responsible for my ongoing friendship with API for a long time. Until I became ambassador, I was the head of the API wing at that time on the legal sense. But anyway, he is still there with them, and he is their one of the main persons, runs many operations of all kinds. You have all the list given to you. He's a very busy person, and I'm very happy that he's with us, and he has the support of us all the time. And the topics you have before you, we purposely gave it very simple topics. But as you know, the topics are not simple. They are complex. They're very relevant. They're very important for today's time. So we purposely kept it short so that we let you talk about this. So let you contribute to what the topics are about, where we are going toward, the world is going toward what. At that time when we had this program structured, we didn't know about what was going to happen in India's elections, but we left it there. And then we didn't know whether we will be here today with the fight between two countries, Ukraine and other. I always forget that name of the country. I'm just kidding.
Russia.
So those people are very not sure about themselves, what they're doing. But at the same time, if you hear people that Putin has a particular reason for what he's doing, and some people think that the other person has no reason to do what he's doing. So anyway, I think you people should talk about this. There have been lots of discussions going on, a lot of structure going on. So I leave it to you, and we will discuss it. And you please, all of you should talk as much as you want to talk today. It is your day after Surendraji talks. Surendraji.
Okay. I think, thank you for introducing me. It's a great honor for me that you introduced me. And as you know that my life is in more four wall. I go in the morning and I go into the operating room. I see two lights. and 4 or 5 people in my room. And they don't talk because I'm operating, because I'm very particular. So outside the world is, I've learned quite a bit from people. So I think I'm here to learn more than give any talk. But interestingly, this time, I have been following some of the elections for a long time in India. But this time it was a very interesting election. It was more for us that what is going to happen in UP. That was the most interesting election. And how, who's going to vote, who's going to win. I think the television people also made it more interesting because they were not knowing what is going to happen. But majority of the people also guessing that other party might win this time, and Modi ji party is going to lose this time. So we'll see, tell him the lesson. We show him the lesson. I think their main problem was by doing that they never had any substance what they want to do themselves. But we had a BJP had a substance. So what they're going to do and what they're done. And other the UP was a different world. I've traveled India extensively when I was a young college and the school. I traveled right from this Kashmir to the south and east to the west. I gone through the UP. I know how what type of that state was. Most backward state where education was very populated state. And I could see that now, after this government has come up, how things have changed there. I think the change what Modi ji and Yogi ji has done, and that was this thing that they win such a majority votes. And I think a really learning point because we've been following India for a long time. I was when I was a child, I saw that thing that time. When I remember one thing, which we thought that we are democratic that time when we got independence, but it was a long way we came now. Now we really look like a democratic and secular because BJP has got vote from each and every caste, which we India are still believe in the caste because it may not be the caste system is going down, but in the politics the caste comes. You are a Brahmin, you are Baniya, you are Jat, you are this thing, and I do not know so many communities they have, and Muslims. So I think BJP, if you look into that, got from the all the communities votes. So this is what I call as a secular. Even the Muslim voted because Modi ji party and Yogi ji has done so much for the Muslim in UP. I was little disappointed that they did not supported the person who helped them so much. So I think they have to go a long way. They have to learn a long way. So that was my observation. I'm not very much into it, but I think my observation was like that watching a TV once in a while. So I thought that they had done a tremendous job, and I think they come. UP has come a long way. If I see the UP now, the roads are built, the hospitals are built, and it has become going to be one of the best state. I can tell you that Yogi ji has got 5 years more. He's going to change the state completely, and it will become an international state. The Bollywood is going to come there. Everything going to be there. I can see that now. His vision is great, and I think with the blessing of Modi ji, that is what I learned from that. Our other state also, I think we win. When I say we win, that I look like I'm a BJP guy. I think I am BJP guy, but that is what my mouth will come that we win. That means the BJP win. BJP has done in Uttarakhand has done very well. Also in Manipur they win very well. The Goa they built with not with the thumping majority, but with the coalition of the two independent. I think they've done well. So out of 5 states, BJP got 4 states. That is very critical at this time. And I think that this BJP should be very much alert and awake right from the day one now, because the Lok Sabha elections are coming up in 2 years. They should put their prongs, their people, go door to door in all the states, and all the villages, and all the towns. If they do that part, and then whatever they've done in the UP, and I'm telling you that they will be coming very thumping majority in the Lok Sabha as well. I have seen that in other parties as well. My experience is more in the childhood, because I left the country very early age, and then I'm here, and then I just get tits and bits there. But my childhood experience, I remember some of the things. And when I was a child, there was suddenly I see that my uncles and some of the relatives, they all been jailed. And I was a small kid that time, and I did not understand. Only jail means that they have done the theft. And I keep on asking that to what they have done. Only my dad was not in the jail, because he was the most non-political person. He never joined any politics, and he did not believe in any politics. So he has to take care of all the families, their food, their thing, and like that. And I was just worrying about what's going on here. I asked my mom that, look, why uncles are in the jail? What theft they have done? Have they done something bad thing? Then my mother used to explain me that no, they're not doing any bad thing. But I still could not understand that part. At that time, our democracy was that opposition party just put them in the jail. And I think that was not, to me, that was a democratic way. We just started our country, and then democracy is not that way. You have to be tried, you have to go in the court, and then if you are fault, then do that. But I guess that is a different time. And I think this is a different time. Now we got a good judiciary system. Look at the thing, what happens in Lal Killa. So much destruction, so much this thing, that. Look at the patience of our leaders now, that did not react again about the hundreds of the people might have died, otherwise the army or the police there. This is what calls a democracy. The people who did the bad thing, they should be tried. That is what happened. And I think that the farmers stay there for years and years, months and months, and they could demonstrate that. That is a democracy. You can demonstrate without hurting anybody. So I think I learned a lot of the things. I see the past and I see the future. I think the future is there in India, and they're doing the great thing. And I think looking at the elections, it was great that BJP win, because this is the party we needed to win. Modi ji we needed, because that is how the progress will be happening. Other party did not impress me much. I think they were more, only thing is that Modi is sure. This is type of the things when they speak like that one. If I'd like to vote that party, I might not vote. I think that they have to learn much more. They have to be more mature in the party. So that was my impression in this election. And I think I should like to learn more. It is very superficial, but observation. And that is what I spoke at this time. So I think that this part for the election, I will go to Agnihotri ji, whether I think you want to open the discussion now, or rather should we go to the other part?
Thank you, Purohit. I think it was a very well articulated in terms of how actually what happened. And even though you are modest, I think you did a pretty deep analysis, which was great. So at this time, I think we can take someone else comment if you want to speak on something. Girish ji, if you want to say, Dr. Harihar Singh ji, Adityan ji, anyone, if you want to say on this recent election, or US-Ukraine, or Suresh Rai ji. Girish ji, I think, yes, please.
Hello,
Yes,
this is
Girish ji.
Gaurang. No, oh, Girish. Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
Gaurang ji. Sure,
No, no,
Gaurang ji, yes.
you mentioned Ukraine, so I thought Dr. G was going to talk about that later on. So I just, I don't want to intervene right now.
I think Dr. Ji has just opened the floor.
Okay.
And we can talk on both topics as you please, whatever your interest is. So,
My concern with is more of Ukraine, because I think in terms of elections, things are going well, and I think there are things we can support from here, which is limited.
Let me start the Ukraine now.
Okay.
Because the second topic I could, I think, if you want me to go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure,
That's why I was asking. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think this is what has come after 2 years of this COVID. And we thought that the world will get a little rest and will do something much more ahead. Those 2 years which are lost, I think the whole world is lost everything. And I thought that they will, now the time will come that we will travel, we'll enjoy ourselves, because we are just more likely put in the jail there for 2 years. We did not even go because we are always scared. It is not US, but India, Europe, you can like any countries which was affected. Okay. And suddenly we saw that now this problem has come up, that Russia has gone into the thing and attacking the Ukraine. And suddenly what happened? I think if you look at the history of the thing, first thing I'd like to say a few words about Putin. Who is Putin? Putin, I can just give a little bit background on him. He studied law at a Leningrad University. He was a lawyer. And he served 15 years in foreign office for the KBG. 15 years is a long time. So that he can know about the world inside and outside what is going on. Then he became the lieutenant colonel. And then he was returned to Russia at that time. And he became the proctor for the Leningrad State University. And then I think he's go further. He was the advisor to the Sobek, was a former democratically elected mayor of St. Petersburg. So now under the mayor, he got along very well. And I think that mayor was very powerful there. So I think he became his advisor. And after that, I think at that time, the Boris Yeltsin was the president. And Boris Yeltsin said that this young boy is very capable. So he got him under his wing. And then he launched very well operated military operation in Chechnya. I think Chechnya, he did a very well, I understand, and that he was very aggressive, very successful. And then he became prime minister. He was there at that time. And then Boris Yeltsin saw that this is a man, he should be a president. So suddenly the Boris Yeltsin retired, premature retired at that time. And then he became the president. He inaugurated the first presidency on May 7, 2012. So he is a president since 2012. That means this may be third term finishing, and maybe going in the fourth term. He was seeing the world. He saw that how the USSR and the Russia, how they become once upon a time the USSR was big, the Russia, and I think his mind was that one day he will get back and take over the things again. The first thing he realized that Ukraine was very close to the Russia neighboring state, and he was always worried about it. Initially, the Ukraine was very prosperous, was in Russia's majority of the people were Russian in that state. And I think he realized that when our president uh, from the US become, he, he, that is the time they got independence in one way, and then US started taking over on that part. So on invasion, let me talk about little invasion. The Russia invaded Ukraine on 24th of February, launching the biggest military offensive in Europe since World War II. So this was this very offensive. We knew that, we saw that, we knew that. And this his aim was to take the Ukraine because there are a lot of things going on in the Ukraine, and everything was against Russia, and it was supposed to become the part of the Euro Union, and so he didn't like that part, and he just thought that that we go and take over this Ukraine, get into the wing. So United States, the European Union, and many other countries have imposed a harsh sanction on him because he invaded on Russia, including the attempting to cut some of the Russian bank off the international payment system, limiting the Russian central bank access financial market. We see a lot of those in the television now. Many NATO countries have promised to deliver weapons to support the Ukraine fighters. So I think my feeling is that I think what is happened, and that US was pretty much into it. All the business were done, and they were everybody's investment was there, and a lot of politicians has invested an interest in the Ukraine, and so a lot of I can say hanky-panky was going on in Ukraine, and people were all making money, and a lot of things were happening. In the meantime, and that Bush was President Bush was very much into it, and he given all the aids, and he also given a lot of equipment that they can fight. They can fight with Russia because it was a neighboring state, if the time comes. And so I think that was one of the reasons that he invaded Ukraine. And so it was he invaded, and now he's going with the full swing. And as you see that he is now his job. He thought that he should capture city by city, and he'd take the mayor out from there and put his own people and the army, all these cities, so he can capture the whole country that way. But it did not work out that way for him. He thought that he will capture in about 3 to 4 days, but it looked like Ukraine was very well prepared. All the arms aid or fighters aid, everything was already there. So he could defend pretty well. Now he is after 17 or 18 days. Now it's still fighting, and try to take over the Ukraine. But I think it's going to be a big job for him, because once he goes to the city, there are people. If you are invader, the defender has a upper hand, and they will fight much more because that's what they want, to come near them and fight it there. So I think that is what is going on there now. And say that Europe is already giving them the 1.3 billion package to for them, for the Ukraine, and they are supporting a hard-heartedly completely. But the public in the Europe is not for it. because after from the COVID, they still think that now they do not want any part of it. They do not want any refuse. They do not want to fight. I think that is the big problem that Europe has. But I think the Europeans' job is just to supply the money and the war equipment, so they can hold on to themselves. And the same thing the US is doing. The US does not want to get involved because people here do not want that another war just came from Afghanistan, and about another war should be there. As far the India is concerned, the India, most of the countries has aligned with the US, but India was completely neutral at this time. But there's one thing is that India has to take the side. That's what the people think in the US, that otherwise you are with us or you are not our enemy, something like that. But they're not told India as yet completely, but that is what Biden's last statement was, that we should have those who are with us, otherwise they are not with us, they will have a big problem. So I think that is where we stand now. The India's main problem will be that economically, that will impact in India because a lot of businesses we are doing with Russia and Ukraine, and especially with the rising of this oil price, it will be very difficult for India to hold, because before the election, the prices of the gas and the oil was down, but now I think with this impact, it will be very high, and that people will get affected. And even the crude price oil will be going to 115 per barrel, petrol, diesel prices, and that will at least 15 to 20 rupees per liter. People have to pay more. So I think that is another thing which I think India will have. Another thing, the India impact will be the edible oil. According to the report which I've seen in some of the newspapers, that India import nearly 2.5 million tons of sunflower oil, the 70% of which comes from the Ukraine, while 20% is supplied by the Russia. So at least 90% of the sunflower oil come from this Russia and the Ukraine. The ongoing arms conflict in Ukraine has hit the supply chain, leading to the short supply of the sunflower oil and the palm oil. And that is the edible oil. And so I think India will affect, but only thing good part that benefit will get the mustard farmers in Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, because they can use the mustard oil as well for the edible thing. So I think they will get the benefit. And another thing was discussed about it, how the Indian Drug Manufacturing Association came to the thing that it will be affected, that the raw material price will be going up. The medication may be getting a little bit more costly. And but the Indian pharma companies have said the statement, but not going to make much difference on the sale. They will still will be able to sell to the other part of the world or in India. So I think one report came, the pharmaceutical accounted for 30% of the Indian total export to the Ukraine between April and the December last year, amounting about $173.3 million dollars that we did export to the Ukraine. That will, according to them, there's not going to affect, and the other part of the world will buy their goods. Russia on the other side purchased pharma about 386 million in the same period. So I think India will be affected, but I think India will hold on to itself, and some of the areas will be affected. And as I was telling, that it is the time of the Junior Bush, which has a lot of influence on the Ukraine. And he's the person who armed them. He opened the market for them. I think it became the close country for the US, and that is what I think the Putin did not like that part, and he was always worried about it. And it was he think it was his country, and that somebody has taken over, and that they want to get into the NATO. I think that was another thing he did not like it become the part of the NATO, and it is sitting right on our head. So that is one of the reasons I think he did. But I think I'm not going to. There's a lot of material I can talk about it, but I'm not going to do that. I think I'd like to hear from other people, and we can open the forum.
Thank you, Dr. Seb. So who wants to go first? Girishji, Gaurangji, or Sridharji? Girishji, I think Girishji, if you may, please.
Yeah, about the elections in India, I will speak in short. Uttar Pradesh, I heard from my friends in Uttar Pradesh, one thing did not work for BJP there was so many workers were pushed there, and the local workers had to take care of them, their lodging, boarding, and everything. And they remained busy in doing that. And so too many pracharaks, too many workers sending to UP was one of the factors that workers are talking there, that did not let them work. And from 323 or something to fall down to 75, after doing so much good work by Yogi ji, is definitely a step in the backward direction. Last election, I think Muslim women voted for Yogi ji, but this time they did not. And this Kisan movement also affected Modi ji's, Yogi ji's performance there. Luckily, he came ahead and is able to form the government, but need to do more work there for the Kisan and the Muslim. And Muslim psyche, no matter what you do for them, it will not change. So, but we have to try. In Punjab, these anti-India forces, Khalistan forces supported, looks like they supported Arvind Kejriwal. And now after these election results, their movement will grow there, and Kisan movement also is going to grow there. That will be a big headache for Indian government. Goa and other things are okay. Luckily, Mayawati did not get her foothold there anywhere excepting 2 seats in Goa. That was a good sign. But for Yogi and Modi ji, thing is, we can work to improve the condition of the minority, so-called minority, but it will not help. It will, their psyche, their mindset will not change. Yesterday, I saw the Kashmir Files movie in the theater, and it was horrible. It was horrible. Now, on the issue of Ukraine, remember when President Kennedy was president, Bay of Pigs thing happened. Russia wanted to have a missile base in Cuba, and USA objected to that, not on our borders. Same thing is here. Russia is objecting NATO membership for Ukraine. So Ukraine should have understood that they are a small neighbor and they have to fight with the big neighbor. Be strong, be big, and then raise your head. If you are a weak country, there is no wisdom in taking a fight with big neighbor, strong neighbor, good neighbor. Like another example of that type is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, China is establishing base there, and we cannot do anything because we are not as strong as Russia. So no country would like other enemy country to have a base on their borders. And that is what Russia did. Though I don't support the invasion, but President of Ukraine should have refrained from insisting to join NATO and the other union. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Girishji. I think Damleji wants to speak.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes,
Hello.
Damleji.
Yeah. There are so many issues now, but regarding the Ukraine issue, of course, thanks to the Dr. Adityan, he gave the very good timeline about Ukraine issue. I would request Dr. Adityan to submit an email to all the members of FISI to understand the timeline. And I agree with you, Girishi, and about the no country would like to have enemy on the border. That's true, but it's a geopolitics. South American countries are Bolivia, Venezuela, all these countries are Cuba, are Marxist. So they are already in border. Apart from that, rather than going to the geopolitics, I would like to draw all of your attention to most important factors that Indian community in USA. And there are some kind of as government, I do understand the government of India position walking on the tightrope and the national interest and economical problems. Yes. But as an Indian community in America, we are recognized by second largest income group among the minority. 87% Indians are postgraduate. So on this background, as an individual and as a human rights and as a democracy and all these things, because America is using all these terms for foreign policy as a tools. So we should, if on this issue, we should say, as an individual, we condemn invasion from two reasons: humanitarian reason, from the democratic reason, because Ukraine is a country. Third most important reason is Russia establishing bad precedent of might is right. And I'm afraid that China will use against Taiwan, against Arunachal Pradesh or Philippines. So from all this angle, as an individual, we should, as a maybe diplomatic or tactics or our consciousness, we should condemn the invasion, number one. We should help via Seva International against to rehabilitate a refugee from Ukraine. And we should write a letter or express a view in the newspaper to establish credibility, our credibility, say, hey, in spite of that, we like BJP government, but we are independent and we can express our view according to our spiritual, moral, and ethical and political point of view. This is the number one. Regarding number two, UP election, all of you are senior people know, but I still remember in 1987 when Arun Shourie was in Chicago, what he said is a important guideline. He said, if BJP win state assembly election 2 times, then third time the Muslim will think and shift the voting to the BJP. That is a general. And keep in mind, last time there was a political maneuvering alliance with the smaller party. And on this issue, the BJP got 300 seats. And today the what seat, because of some friends away from the BJP and caste domination is still there. And on this background, Muslims, even the OSs did not get votes also because they decided to vote for, not to vote BJP candidate. So these are what are the factor happen. But if this government, if the Yogi government win the election, next election, because this is the first time election run under the leadership of Yogi Adityanath, if we run for second time and won the election, may we see some change of the pattern, voting pattern among the Muslim community. But keep in mind, Islam, feeling for Islam is so strong. Even 70 years after the communist rule in the West, in the communist country, Muslims maintain their identity. So on this background, we have to be careful. But again, I will request you, as an individual, we should say, hey, I'm a scientist, I'm a professor, I'm a journalist. I condemn the invasion. Tourism, bad precedent, might is right. And second thing is against the international policy, and Indian government also requested to respect the sovereignty of the country. So these are my view I would like to share. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sridharji. Who wants to go next?
Okay, let's
Hari Singh ji.
दिनेश जी बोलने वाले सर जस्ट
हाँ मैं थोड़ा बोलूं
हाँ
विवेक
बोलिए
Please, Dinesh ji. Yes, yes.
तो I would like to say a few things about UP elections only. First
Sure.
thing, we got a little less number of seats than last time, only for one reason, that Muslim votes got united again for SP, Samajwadi Party. Let me give you some data. Last time, Akhilesh Party got 42% of Muslim votes. This time they got 79%. So last time Muslim votes were equally divided between SP, BSP and little bit to Congress Party. So if you see wherever there are Muslims more than 30%, last time BJP got about 50% of those seats. This time they got only 10 seats. And that is what made the difference. Another thing, last time Congress Party got 9% of the votes. This time they got only 2.5%. So where are those remaining 6 or 7% vote? They went to SP. So BJP did not lose any votes. The only thing we lost few seats, very little margin. About 30, 35 seats we lost, less than 100, less than 1,000 votes. So the main reason to get back to over 300 is the Hindus who did not vote at all. 39% of Hindus did not vote. So next time, if our RSS, somebody was saying that RSS workers were there too many and BJP workers were preoccupied to hosting them and all that, that has nothing to do with the election outcome. But we should focus on those 39, 38%, in which 90% are Hindus. They did not vote. So next 5 years, I think we should find out why those people did not vote. And if we get even half of those people to go and vote, we will get more than 350 seats. So I think in UP, we should not worry that much. We still have chance. And as we move on, more and more Hindus will get united, as it is happening all over India. And this the Kashmir Files is doing wonders to bring Hindus together and forgetting all their caste and all those affiliations. I mean, it is just, I have never seen in my life, people are so crazy to see this movie all over India. I mean, 24 hours, they are running theaters, 24 hours, about 6 or 7 shows per day. And every show is full. Every show is full. 6 o'clock show or 12 o'clock in the night show, they are all full. First day it made about 4 crore rupees. Second day it made about 8 or 9 crores. And third day on Sunday it made 13 crore rupees. And now Monday is going to make even more. nowhere in Bollywood history anybody has seen something like this for any movie like this one. So I think we are doing okay. 2/3 majority in UP under the odds, the kind of odds we had, it is fantastic. So please think positive and celebrate it. We got 40, 50 seats less, but that is fine. We still have 2/3 majority. So that's all I have to comment on UP elections.
Thank you, Dinesh ji.
Can I make a correction? Dinesh ji,
Yes.
as you say about this Kashmir file, yes, I'm also happy about that. But keep in mind, whatever that Gangubai Kathiawadi collected 100 crore in 1 week, 100 crore in 1 week. So still the Bollywood control and how many half the theaters.
Not 100 crores, not 100 crores, 10 crores.
So
10 crores. The first day was 10 crores, and then after that is kept on going down and down.
So Damleji, for the number, because those movies were released to thousands of theaters, whereas Kashmir Files is released only 170 or some odd number. So that's a major difference.
635.
And the most important thing, some of the theaters are booked by my Muslim community and did not show in the theater. So theater owners say people are not there. So they will try to buy the ticket and nobody goes to the show. So in block purchasing the ticket, Kashmir File, and of course, our biggest problem is, let me blunt, okay? Some of the people may not like our Mahila factor, woman factors. When you talk to them to see the movie, their first dialogue is, "Oh, we don't like violence, we don't like maramari, all these things." I say, you don't mind to see the slim Amitabh Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan fight against 7 people, and आप ताली बजाते हैं. तो ये मूवी नहीं देखने के तैयार होते. So we need to change the mindset of our Hindu woman, number one, from in the family. Charity begins at home, and our children. So the point of view I'm saying, this is a communication war and information war. Same thing applied to the Ukraine also. In Ukraine, we see communication bombardment and information bombardment as a propaganda from the news media and electronic media. How many of us know that 2 days before Saudi Arabian airplane and American airplane bombarding Aden? Same bombarding, you can see the picture about the Ukraine, and same thing effect in the Aden. So we should present the view, the first victim of any war is the truth. So when I say we present our view as an individual, middle class, educated and conscious middle class or sensitive middle class, we should emphasize on this point of view.
Thank you, Damleji. I think Adityanji wants to say something.
Yeah, I just reiterate the same thing.
Yes.
Whatever everybody is talking about the UP election or election, what happened in India. So obviously, whatever, I'm just giving an example for the UP election because I come from UP and I was concerned how things were going at that time. So it has done pretty good. I think majority Yogi ji is there, but just to keep the momentum, even do some better. I know Dinesh ji has brought up good issues, and Sridhar ji has brought. You all gave very good compliment on that one. Still, the Yogi or BJP government is the right track. But what we need to do, just like number of people who haven't voted, there should be some mechanism to encourage people to come forward and vote because it's critical issue. And why BJP needs the majority, people are being educated on that sense. This is the one who is going to make the India as India what today. Otherwise, there will be a problem. There is another issue I think you must have heard about the Muslim population. The rate of growth of Muslim population compared to Hindu population. is very high. So I think after 10 years or so, their population is going to increase, and they may have larger majority to elect opposite groups. So I think these keeping in the caution all these factors. I think this is some disturbance. Keeping these things into effect, the government needs to be active from now on, because after 2 years the central government election is going to happen. So I think Yogi ji will make a very good impact if he demonstrate as he did earlier. He should proceed and try to see minorities, they come along with him, not just say Hindu, Hindu every time. Hindu is there, that is 99%. Hindu is there 99.9%. But let's get the minority, let them feel that Yogi feels for this minority. We know it may not be right, but it's still behind the scene that should be, and that's the way it should go other places too. So Punjab is different issue. I think there is another politics going on. I'm not going to talk. There is no time for it. But obviously, coming to the Ukraine, I know Damleji has pretty good. He said that we all Indian Americans living in this country in USA, we need to condemn that, because this is ethical ground, moral ground, people are being killed. But there is rationale for India. Is not I'm talking about India. India has a rationale. Why is not condemning or is not going for? Because we all know why India is not coming forward one and keeping its neutral. That is so far so good. But for Indian American living in the USA, we support the fact people are being dying, or there was a reason why this happened, because this Ukraine wanted to join NATO. He just wanted to have the biggest force, so that other countries, European countries and US, they can fight and protect this Ukraine. That was not possible, tolerable for the Russia. So Russia, I think, did not want uh, Ukraine to join this NATO. That was the main basis why this war happened. So I think war, as it is, it's not good, it's not healthy, it's terrible for everyone. So that should be condemned. But let's see how we stop this war somewhere and say that it doesn't go. So I think both ways. I'm thinking in terms of India. India has done its part for its own interest. That may be the right position for India to take it. But for Indian American living in this country, our focus is we condemn this war in right now going on Russia and um,
Thank,
Ukraine. So that should stop. That's all my
thank you,
comment. Thanks.
thank you, Hari Singh ji.
Okay.
Thank you very well. Dr. Nitin ji, I think you want to say something?
I will just make some broad comments on the election results because it has a bearing on the future of India. 5 states went into elections. In 4 of those states, BJP was in power, was governing party. There was a very strong anti-incumbency factor prior to the elections. And that is reflected in what happened in Punjab. The Punjab Congress government was voted out. Luckily, in all the 4 BJP ruled states, the government came back to power. So yes, we can celebrate that, but there are very, very worrying trends. And if we do not do course correction at this point in time, there will be problems. And I'll go over 4 states, starting with UP. Professor Dinesh Agrawal has already given some of the statistics. But there are worrying trends. If you see 2017 assembly elections, 2019 Lok Sabha elections, and 2022 assembly elections, the seat share of BJP has gone down consistently if you see the assembly constituencies. 2017, BJP got 312, BJP alone, not the allies. And in 2019 elections, if you see, it comes to around 275. And if you see 2020, the BJP seat share is 255. This tells you in that 5-year span, BJP lost 57 assembly seats. It's not a small change. And of course, there was a polarization of the forces, and you know who these people are. They went ahead, including the 4th estate, including the intelligentsia or whatever so-called civil society. Before every election, some popular agitations are brought forth. And before UP elections, if you may remember, the hijab agitation was brought forth to influence the Muslim voters. That was done very deliberately in a very, sort of Machiavellian fashion. The other thing you need to see that because of the bipolarization of the polity, SP got subsequently larger number of seats, and that is definitely worrying. There are some statistics that you need to understand. In 71 Muslim majority constituencies, in 67 non-BJP supported Muslim candidates won. That is something very, very significant. And as the population share and the demographic composition of the state is changing, this is serious for the future. There is definitely decimation of BSP and Congress. They are no longer entities. So any future elections, especially the 2024 elections, would be BJP versus BSP. And I think trends are a little worrisome at this point in time. So we cannot rest on the laurels that we won the election. I think what is important is how we do course correction so that in 2024 Lok Sabha election, this declining trend does not go through. That is one observation because UP brings 80 parliamentary seats to the Lok Sabha. In Uttarakhand, we beat the anti-incumbency factor. But in Uttarakhand, we had change of 3 chief ministers in a span of, 5 years. And I think that was not a very happy thing. And within like 12 months of the elections, the Uttarakhand government had brought a law suggesting that the state will take over the Hindu shrines, Hindu temples, etc. And that created a significant backlash. The second BJP chief minister, T.S. Rawat, had to go because of that. And then Pushpa Singh Dhami had to be brought in. The number of seats also dropped down, although people were saying it's going to be neck-to-neck fight with Congress. BJP still won 47 seats out of, I think, 67 seats or something like that. So again, creditable challenge to the anti-incumbency wave, but good performance. Let's go to Goa. Goa was a very unique situation. In 2017, BJP had won only 13 seats in Goa, was a minority party, but stitched up a coalition, picked the Congress and, got into power with Manohar Parrikar's help. Towards the end, Congress, which had won 17 seats, was left to only 2 or 3 seats because all the Congress members resigned and joined BJP and won the elections again. This time in Goa Assembly, BJP has won 20 out of 40 seats. 3 independents have supported and 2 MGP legislators have supported BJP. So you have the government. But what is worrying that out of these 20 legislators, 21 are the retreats from Congress and other parties. They joined actually before the election. So these are not your original BJP workers. If you don't give them cabinet posts, they are likely to, go to any other party. They are not your committed, they are not your solid workers. So that is something which is very peculiar to Goa. It was just like Haryana of 1960s and 70s when there was Ayarams and Gayarams. So that's the situation in Goa. Coming to Manipur, in Manipur, the assembly has 60 seats and BJP actually won around 32 seats, so clear-cut majority. But Janata Dal United, they won 6 seats. And Janata Dal United, although in Bihar and at center being part of the NDA coalition, actually contested against BJP because they were not being accommodated. And for them to win 6 seats, and now to say that we want to be part of the cabinet and governance, I think needs to be seriously considered because Janata Dal is not a good ally. They backstabbed earlier, not only in Bihar, but also at national level. Coming to Punjab, I think BJP did a very good show. If you look at the vote percentage, BJP's vote percent actually increased to 6%, although they got only 2 seats. But it is creditable because Punjab is going through anti-incumbency every election. So you had Akali and token BJP government followed by Congress government and now AAP government. So our eyes should be trained on 2027 because Congress and Akali Dal have discredited themselves. AAP, you know how they are functioning in Delhi. So BJP has a strong chance of winning Punjab away from anti-national forces in 2027 if we keep our, sort of moves and work on the ground continuously over a period of time. Results are, tactically good, but in long term, we have a lot of work to do to slide the arrest of this, decline in number of seats. I am not going to comment on Ukraine because we don't have any time.
Thank you. Thank you, Adityanji. I think we have two more guests who wants to speak, and I know time is up, but please share your comments as quickly as possible. So Jiten Sarji, do you want to go first or?
Yeah.
Yes, I was listening with interest. The funny thing is that the two border states, Punjab and Bengal, BJP has not been able to do anything. And what bothers me so much is the fact that somebody like Kejriwal wins so many seats because Kejriwal does not look for India. I mean, the thing is that he is ruling in Delhi because of these giveaways, and how a person like Kejriwal can win in Punjab. That to me is really disturbing, and it goes to the same thing that has happened in Bengal. Now, Bengal, I know because BJP really worked very hard, but just couldn't make it because the Muslims actually voted like they always do. But to me, that is really bothersome. And already in Punjab, Khalistan slogans have already started. The new chief minister has not been installed yet, and already processions and everything is starting. I saw a video today that has been sent, and I think the big problem is the Hindus. The Hindus. I mean, how can they vote?
Thank you, Jitanji. I know, I'm sorry, did not mean to cut you, but I think we are running over time, and I also want to give Mr. Aaron a chance to speak. If you'd like to speak something.
Yeah, I really appreciate the conversation, and just to follow up with what Jitendra was bringing up. How do you? I'm sure this might be a little late to bring this up, but how do you guys see AAP's approach as a platform, almost like a populist 2020s version of Moti's Gujarat growth model of the 2000s, but not the same. I'm not arguing it's the same model. I'm arguing it's a model, and the fact that if they can contest, which it looks like they're going after trying to contest in Gujarat and HP, and like there's sort of a move going on here, right? And their targeting seems to be, this sort of UBI for women, right? This 1,000 rupees a month, which is sort of like it's like a wang, in the US, that ran last time in 2020 or 2019, I guess, 19 and 20. So I'm just wondering, how do you see, do you think there'll be just a reversion to the mean in continuous Indian politics, or do you think this has the potential to be sort of a movement, because it seems to be targeting youth, women, poor people. I mean, just kind of, it's almost like a 1960s U.S. Democrats, late 60s, early 70s, right? That if that makes any sense. And I'm just wondering. I don't have an answer, or I'm not projecting aside. And tell me if my analysis is terrible. So that's okay too. So, or if I didn't make any sense either, you can tell me that.
So
I can answer very quickly.
sure,
Regarding AAP, I mean AAP, the party you are talking about.
Yep.
Somebody commented that wherever there is a chaos, the AAP comes to that state. So AAP has come to Delhi because of the chaotic situation created by Congress. Similarly, AAP came to Punjab, again the chaotic situation created by Congress due to their infighting more. Luckily, Gujarat has, yes, they are going to contest Gujarat and Himachal. I mean, there is no question about that. They are going to do that. They have already tried it earlier, but they have also tried in Goa and they have failed there. My best guess is they will try in these two states. And since there is no chaos in those two states, so the chances of their growth is similar to what they tried in UP and failed, what they tried in Uttarakhand and failed. So they will try, but the chances are that they will fail.
Do you think, and quick follow-up, do you feel that if they target Congress to sort of a drain the swamp strategy, that, you know, basically put it out of business?
Yes, they are quickly targeting, I mean, everybody is targeting Congress.
Yeah, I know, poor Congress.
They are not the only one. And they are the one who are succeeding. And Congress is also helping people. I mean, the other parties in the opposition. Opposition is trying. The bulk is not coming to BJP, but the opposition is also trying. Good leaders from Congress are coming to BJP, but the vote factor is not migrating in that purpose.
The problem is,
as a researcher,
problem is that app is also very corrupt. The thing is that what BJP has it going for him, that they have Modi at the helm, and Modi is the face of the BJP, and people trust Modi. Aap is totally corrupt, and they have no chance in Gujarat, because Gujarat has a very good record for the last 24 years. So AAP has no chance, you know, and that is why it's very disturbing, and why AAP won in Punjab. It is, you know, I can understand everything, but of all things, Kejriwal is himself extremely corrupt.
Thank you, Ajit.
As a researcher, which we wrote a book about the 2017-19 election. I would like to draw your attention, Aaron, two parts. Number one, just like in USA, in India, the politicians are discredited with the corruption and caste and dynasty, which is Indian uniqueness.
Sure.
But last 7 years, so many years, Modi government presented, there was not a single corruption case in the central government, any minister. Number one. Number two, they have presented the program for without lowering the freebies. They give development program which implemented very successfully as a unique model from Gujarat model to India model, and building the roads and all other things. Third important thing regarding the Punjab, my feeling Punjab problem is due to the most important thing about Sikh identity. apart from the corruption and all other things, the Sikh identity and the Sikh community in Punjab, because of the rich farmers community, they like to have the middleman commission as well as the sectarian identity. They are afraid about join with BJP means losing the identity factor. So all other most dangerous person is a Kejriwal, because the man behind Kejriwal is George Soros, who set aside $800 million to defeat the Modi government. So these are my analysis as a researcher.
Thank you, Damraji. I think we are going longer in the duration. So Bhishmji, do you want to give some closing remark?
ऑडियो आपका
Bhishmji, आपका ऑडियो बंद.
ऑडियो
He did not.
Bhishmji, that's okay. I think he got somehow dropped.
Yeah.
But let's give it a minute. But I think in the meantime, yeah, sure, Surajji.
मैं कॉल करूं उनको?
हाँ करिए. But in the meantime, while आगे
he's there.
Okay, ठीक है. It's all right. Everything is okay. I mean, it's a good presentation by everybody, and I really enjoyed it. There are a few other points, but we can talk some of the time maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Let's keep on talking. And Surendraji, thank you very much
for
being here, being very busy. I know you're very, very busy, but thank you very much again. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Actually, that's a good job you did.
Yes. Thank you.